Dustin, why are you so nervous, man? Relax, enjoy, man. Let's have fun.
What's this dude talking about? That's boxing.
This is not boxing, this is MMA, man.
Well, you're gonna sleep like it's boxing.
I think Dustin's just pissed off. And he usually fights best when he's pissed off.
I mean, look at his expression right there. I mean,
He's
he's
pissed.
He looks like he's ready.
And Islam is just trolling him as well, right? Hello there, fight fans. Are you ready to elevate your fight night experience? With our partners at DraftKings, you can take your excitement to the next level and get some skin in the game. Right now, all new customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500 with just a $5 deposit. If your first bet doesn't hit, you can get a bonus bet back in the original amount you bet. Download the DraftKings app now and sign up using our code ONPOINT. The crown is yours. That's right, it's UFC 302, and if you're a new customer and deposit just $5, you can get a no sweat bet of up to $1,500. So if that first bet doesn't hit, no sweat. You get the original amount you betted back in a bonus bet. If you want to stay in on the action, you can check out DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger pot, combining multiple bets together from the same fight. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry, you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and still be in with a shot to win some cash prizes. So don't forget, guys, if you're a new customer for UFC 302, all you got to do is download the DraftKings app and use our code ONPOINT.
I'm definitely picking sides in this one.
When he meets some good wrestlers and grapplers, he have always same problem. Look, listen. Thank you, guys.
Question for Dustin.
Just cut him off like he was mid-sentence and just like, question for Dustin.
Yeah. Clearly, Islam's been watching your breakdown.
Why?
He knows Dustin struggles against the grapplers, doesn't he?
Well, you have to look quite deep
Hard,
into
yeah,
his, you have to look quite hard into it.
You know, one of the things that, like, you know, it really excites me about, you know, how things may go, and especially when you have an overwhelming underdog like this, the confidence of a champion might go out of his comfort zone to maybe put on more of an exciting fight, maybe put Dustin Poirier away in a way which goes against what he's, you know, can do really well. But this press conference immediately, Islam's just, I'm just going to take this guy down and I'm just going to win this fight.
Well,
like, I'm not going to risk anything. I'm not going to stand with him. I'm just going to take him down. And Poirier's like, please fucking box with me.
Yeah.
They're going to boo him regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he might as well.
It's been a long road. If you've been a fan of mixed martial arts for a long time, you've got to see this story unfold. From Fightville, climbing my way up title shots, to here headlining another card in New Jersey. I mean, you're part of the journey with me, man. Thank you.
It is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
Fightville. I don't know if you guys, like, ever got a chance to watch that documentary, but I remember hearing him, because that happened before he got signed to the UFC. And I remember hearing about that documentary and just being like, oh, apparently this guy's, like, you know, the next big deal.
You know, it is quite surreal to see him up there at the end of his career. I know we see people come and go, but he's had such a long career. You know,
You think it's his last fight? Win or lose?
he's certainly shaved his hair for it. He's got that fade. He's ready to go, right? I don't know. He seems really angry, so I just want him to be happy. And if fighting doesn't make him happy anymore, Jason, then, you know.
His guillotine always looking bad, you know. I have to show him how to do right.
Listen, the Gilly Goose Gang ain't taking applications.
He looks so pissed off when he says that. He puts the mic down like...
Yeah.
It's like-
I always feel like, obviously this isn't something for the cup, I always feel like Dustin like really acts really strange all the time, like when he's he can't control his face when he's talking.
Yeah.
Sometimes and he's kind of like, I don't know, maybe that's just
it might be nerves as well. Though.
Yeah,
like,
and I think
generally, I think it could be.
I think
nerves.
he's just pissed, dude.
I
This is
think
a guy who fought people in front of a police station.
The thing is with him though, like even the Conor press conference, he looked that way. I think he's not one of those people that turns the switch on. It's just kind of like always on to a certain extent. It's he can't switch between it. He can't really hide it. Like you can tell he's like, I'm about to fuck you up is what he's thinking the entire time.
I really like Islam. I think he's really funny, and that is the thing I tune in for, is when DC does his check-in with Islam. I always go to that first when it's his fight week, because you know it's always gonna be really, you see him talking about like he's put on weight and he's like, don't play golf. It's like you swing and then you walk. it's like all these little bits he was doing was really good.
You better hope the God's in your favor. Cause I'm gonna fucking beat your fucking dick into the fucking dirt. But don't worry, I ain't gonna fuck you like Izzy did. I got you, man.
Go on.
He's gonna beat his dick. It's fine.
So, make me so, like, excited, you know, to
stepping in the cage against that motherfucker over here.
It's going on just so long, and it's like, we get it, Paolo. Just
less
stop.
is more. Less is more.
I like that initially, Sean talks a bit of shit, and then Paulo's just laughing and smiling and just like, yeah. And it's like, he's insulting you, dude. Like, I don't know if you get that. Like, he said he isn't going to fuck you like Izzy, and he's like, yeah.
There's a lot of pandering, isn't there? It's like, we're going to put on a fight for you guys. We love you guys. Cheer for me,
doesn't
please.
really know what he's saying.
He
He's always
literally
like
got no reaction. It's just the Sean Strickland crowd work checklist.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm
exactly.
going to bleed. We're going to put on a war. I love you guys. And then
America.
But no, and that's
America.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
think he said anything about America yet.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I'm joking.
Oh, right, fucking hell! You got me good.
With Costa as well, it's not just obviously he's broken English, but it's like when he's like, hey guys, the energy is so good in here, and we're going to imagine what the energy is going to be like on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's just like such like a promoter thing to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
It's like,
a let's go would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's also crazy that Paolo's here, because the UFC very clearly want him in the title picture,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
they?
They just keep giving him
f-
shots.
Yeah, he fought Luke Rockhold, a veteran with no ranking who hadn't fought in such a long time. Very close fight. Obviously, it was quite fun in the end. Yeah, and then fights Whittaker, who is obviously forever number one contender.
Title eliminator, basically.
Loses that, and then back in with a number one guy,
Yeah, it's
Sean
kind of
Strickland.
It's really crazy because he's like, I'll be the number one guy. I'll be number one. It's like, oh yeah, like he is right in position again. How did that happen?
Costa was supposed to fight Cannonier.
Yeah.
And then Cannonier got injured or something like that. So then he's fighting Strickland, but how he got upgraded.
I don't actually mind the idea of a Drickus versus Costa as well.
No.
It's a fun fight.
To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Two fucking meatheads just
But
banging heads.
I always felt like Costa's getting better. He's like one of the only guys at the top who seems to still be getting better. So
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sentiment that Sean is going to run through. He's going to be too good for Costa. But like after seeing that Whittaker fight, I have more hope in Costa than I ever have, to be honest. Because for me, especially, I was a bit skeptical about how motivated he was after losing to Izzy way back then. But now, recently, especially that Whittaker fight, it was a close fight. It wasn't like so much of a steal for Whittaker as some people think it was.
Hey, Sean, I think you need a wife on your life.
Sorry?
Oh, this is so random.
Let me tell you, Costa, one of the greatest accomplishments a man can do is get married and have a family.
It's a fucking TED Talk now.
I know he just looks so happy when he says that as well. It's just like, hey guys, one of the greatest things you could do is get married. It's like, okay, Sean, like, what are we? Where are we? We at a press conference? Like, what's going
We're
on?
going to have sex in that octagon. We're going to make a family. Indecent. Let's get back to violence, please.
Dustin, why you so nervous, man? Relax, enjoy, man. Let's have fun.
What's this dude talking about? He should listen to his coaches and box like they're telling him to. Do that, Islam. Let's box.
This is not boxing, this is MMA, man.
Well, you're gonna sleep like it's boxing.
I don't care who is gonna be next to me, Dustin, Volk, or someone else. I will be champion many, many more years.
That's something is nice to hear from Islam. Islam is sounding like he is not willing to retire anytime soon and wants to put a lineage together at lightweight. Obviously,
Wants the
Khabib.
second belt.
Yeah, Khabib said himself that he's very close to that 3 title defenses. Obviously, will be after this, and then he can break that record of being the longest reigning lightweight champion if he
shoot,
goes on
yeah.
for longer. And of course, he obviously will want to get that second belt as well at welterweight, which I think he's more than capable of taking on anyone at welterweight and winning. We need that in the lightweight division, a real like dominant champion who's here to stay, who wants to be the champion as well.
Nah, Dustin's gonna knock him out.
I mean, if he does, it's amazing. But it's also like, I don't see, even if he does knock his arm out, I don't see a rematch where he repeats the same thing. I think he could come back and beat him 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, to be honest.
Don't forget he's sitting next to Strickland, who just won the title last year in a
And don't
fight that we all said that about.
and don't forget about the
But I know we didn't see that happening, but it was 2 kickboxers, whereas Islam is like a fully fledged MMA fighter, and
Leon
Dustin
Edwards, Usman.
What about the Costa curse?
there's nothing. There's no cover curse. There's no Costa curse. It's just people fucking lose.
Everyone
That's
who's
what
been on the
happens.
cover has lost. It's
Everyone's gonna lose at some point.
yeah.
I want the whole fucking belt, man. That's what I'm gonna
I think Dustin's just pissed off. And he usually fights best when he's pissed off, when everyone's like, you can't do this. And he's like, motherfucker,
I mean, look at his
watch me.
expression right there. I mean,
He's
he's
pissed.
He looks like he's
And
ready.
Islam is just trolling him as well, right? Like, that's the...
I mean, that's a pretty perfect picture right there. Like, you see the cocky, confident champion, and I think he should be as confident as he is because he's looked that good. And you see the underdog who's kind of got a chip on his shoulder. He's almost like pissed about his underdog
Islam's
status.
even smiling in the poster. Look at him there. He's got a little smile on. You know?
It's
a little
also,
smirk, yeah.
Yeah, it's also this whole fight as well has been propped up behind the question of will Dustin retire, win or lose, and he's kind of made a rod for his own back in that case. Because that's what everyone is asking him.
Yeah.
He's having to do that repeatedly in interviews, whether he's on DC or ESPN or whatever he's doing. Is everyone's asking that question over and over again, and now he's kind of forcing himself into this corner where he has a big chance to perform or a very likely chance that it's all going to be too much, and he's going to be out of character and get riled up. And
That's a lot of pressure. I
Obviously-
wonder what pressure makes, Luke.
Well,
Does it make
makes
diamonds?
diamonds,
Coal.
but you can
Oh,
also
coal.
make graphite, which is very easily.
What are you, an artist?
No, but it's the same made by carbon, isn't it? But
Need a 2B?
no, but the point is that obviously he's much older, and he said he's matured in fights beyond that. But in the McGregor fight, he said he got rattled, and it took him out of his game plan, and he wasn't himself. I don't think massively, but you two are seeing a lot of agitation in Dustin. The fact that he
You don't see that like in his
Look
expression.
at that face, motherfucker.
no, I can see it, but I also think he's a bit of an odd guy, and maybe the pressure of being on stage is a bit. I feel like he's trying to think a lot about what to say, and maybe that is the agitation coming through. That he's trying to be like this aggressor in the because he's not getting a lot from Islam. He's getting this cool, collected, cocky guy, and he's trying to be the one that's adding some.
I mean, like, even in the first McGregor press conference when they were like, super chums with each other, he was acting that way the whole time. Like, I just don't think he ever can turn off that fact that I'm about to fight this dude. Like, I think he's thinking about it the entire time, and of course they both are, but he can't push it down. Like,
it's
he can't hide
it's
it.
interesting because he definitely has put this pressure on himself, because it feels like everyone in the community is on Dustin's side. Everyone wants him to realize that dream of being a champion, right? And it's kind of like he's got this feeling of like, everyone's against me. I need to prove everyone right that I can do
on purpose,
this.
doesn't he? He puts the world on his back on purpose. It
Yeah.
feels like, because it motivates him, and he fights better when the odds are against him. I feel like so. Dustin's behavior is kind of maybe to be expected when you're going against a guy who's super confident to the point where he's cocky. He's on his phone a couple of times. This guy's not being hostile to you. He's not making it like, a fight. So for Dustin, maybe he feels like he has to get a bit agitated, a bit angry to try and get in that mode, because the other guy's just like fucking trolling and doesn't even care,
I don't know. What's pulling me into it is just that contrast between like the super cocky, like confident champion. And I think he has a good reason to feel that way. Most people, like, if you've seen the betting odds on this, he's like minus 665, like crazy high, plus 445 is what I think I saw for Dustin. So it's like,
that is the most intriguing thing about this whole fight week, actually, and this press conference. That this is, I think, the first time we've seen Islam really come into his own as the champion, and no one is going to stop me. And you can see that just with his mannerism on stage. He's not threatened by Dustin Poirier a little bit,
no.
not one fucking bit, because he knows exactly what he can do to him, and he probably will do it as well. That's the best thing about this press conference, is the confidence that man is showing. But that's also the interesting thing about this. If you're talking about the psychological elements of what a press conference can do to change or alter anything in a fight, is that in your breakdown you talked a lot about getting that body lock and getting to the back. And if that right hook does come, it may come just
There's more aggression.
But also, it might put him in a situation where he's throwing 100% into every shot, where it just opens him up
That's what I mean.
easily opens him up to that takedown and to that back.
He was kind of doing that in the Khabib fight at points, just planting and overthrowing, you know? So, I don't know. That's
Especially
kind of
with this
how
aggression,
he
right?
wins his fights, though, Poirier. He kind of goes into that mode. Like, he's a proper brawler. Like,
Question for Islam. Everyone on the internet yesterday diagnosed you with a staph infection. Are you 100% healthy coming into the fight? Because Dustin took care of business with Benoit with the staph infection.
Don't worry, guys. I have very well training camp. Nothing bother me, and I will be ready 100% Saturday night.
yeah, so this is kind of the staff that he's talking about. If he loses, do you think that will become like a big part of the story then? Like people would be like, oh yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
Staph, that's
why
the only
do
reason he
why
lost.
do we care about stuff? Because you need to be on antibiotics, which causes cardio issues and muscle fatigue. So it depends how he loses, right? If it goes to like the late rounds and he looks really tired, maybe. But if he gets knocked out in 2 rounds,
Well, you just did the video on injuries that people targeted during a fight.
Yes.
Do you think we see a lot
punching
of leg
the
kicks?
stuff.
Yeah, like Rashad
Exactly.
punching Rampage's knee.
People were saying that in the Tony Kevin fight, that Tony was attacking the stuff like Mark on his chest.
was punching
Yeah,
it?
from bottom, from guard. He was like attacking the stuff. Islam's trying to wind him up. You know, Islam knows he's agitated and he's smiling and he's trying to wind him up.
Dustin says, "You're going to sleep, bro. You're going to sleep. You're going to sleep." And then he goes, "You're going to sleep, motherfucker." And he goes, "Don't say motherfucker." And then that's why, because obviously it doesn't translate the same way to Islam
Literal.
as it,
the dude's
as it.
just like, hey, I'm not fucking my mum.
Yeah, no, because motherfucker's just like just anything, whereas
Really,
Islam's
he's heard that a billion times. Like
Yeah, but
actually living in
Costa
America,
said it.
training in AKA.
This guy,
No, but
the
you know
motherfucker.
how important family and creed is to these guys, and it's like he obviously takes it.
Literally
know.
the same thing. Was it Caleb Plant and Canelo? Caleb Plant called Canelo a motherfucker, and it sent Canelo off the fucking wall.
So when someone says like that, that's trying to get under your skin, and you see that as an attack on you, not just as shit talk, then you're gonna take it. And honestly, this fucking press conference needed it.
There's clearly a demeanor change. If that's literally all he said, then
Yeah.
clearly it's had an effect.
And it's finally that acknowledgement of Dustin, because the whole time Dustin could have been any old bloke sitting there chatting shit, and Islam's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat you, mate. It doesn't matter." But now it's like, okay, oh, you wanna talk shit to me? It's like, okay, I'm gonna show you now.
Chiesa just runs.
Pretty.
Don't just talk about my mom. Don't talk about his mom.
It's kind of interesting to me as well because Islam's almost a bit like the opposite of Habib in that way, because Habib did get quite angry
With Tony
sometimes,
as well, yeah.
and with Conor, and he even like walked off a press conference at one point, right? It's just he gets a bit emotional and fired up. I mean, he flew out the cage to attack Dennis, right? Islam's always been the opposite of it, but right there you do see a little bit of that annoyance and that disdain towards his opponent.
The reason we kind of wanted this to be a bit more of a spectacle is because we feel like we know how the fight's gonna go. And it's like, does that make you feel like? Do you think we've seen enough to be like there could be some real competition here, or do we all think Dustin's gonna get run over?
Well, I mean, like, logically, Dustin's going to get run over, but there's so much about it that changes that. Like, what happens if Islam goes out there, tries his southpaw kicking game plan? It just doesn't work because it's a different stance, and Dustin
Takes him
shuts that down. And now Islam's like, okay, the feet isn't working anymore. Maybe that just means he goes for a takedown straight away, but maybe he hangs out there longer than he should. And we did see Dustin crack Habib with like a shifting combination and sent him going flying. So like, Dustin could knock out anybody. Like, if he can just completely shut down the striking of Islam, which might happen. When we saw Volk have success, we've seen people do that. It's a question of like, what choice does the champion make? Does he go with the route to victory that everyone expects with the takedowns, or does something else happen? Something we can't predict.
There's been a few things made about his performance against Benoit. He seemingly was running through Dustin for the first couple rounds until he ran out of gas. But he was having a lot of success just pressuring him, wailing on him, trying to clinch him up, tie him up, and he seemed to kind of do what he liked for a little bit. Is there anything in that?
I mean, I do feel like your breakdown was really informative from that point of view as well. It's like the reality of it is, it's like we've seen Dustin had his back taken time and time again. And I do feel like Islam is like the caliber of fighter where you let him get your back once and that's enough. Like really easily. Really easily let
really
people
easily.
In the Benoit fight, he was almost like flattened out, belly down against Benoit, who was like antibiotics staffed up to the gills, had no cardio, and we just like got him there because Dustin was like, I can get it. And it's like, bro, you can't get it. Stop the gilly.
It's tough to pick Poirier just because, like, to beat a high-level grappler like that, you got to do two things. You got to sprawl and brawl, and Dustin doesn't really sprawl, so he doesn't even have stage one.
The last pay-per-view Dustin fought on, UFC 299. What is also $2.99 is the membership program.
Nice.
Hey?
All right.
So sign up.
That was good.
You get all your podcasts two times a week, 30 minutes and more. This one's a long one, so be excited for that. And
Muscle
we're
this one out.
all excited for the fights.
Yes, sir.
They're going to be good. And we want that Gilly underdog win, and we can make a great
Gilly
video.
Goose Gang, yeah.
Gilly Goose Gang, that's what the video will be called, and we'll get loads of views, and we'll all retire rich.